Liv Morgan upset at Roxanne Perez over tag title loss. Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez's loss of the women's tag team titles at SummerSlam has created quite a stir, particularly for Liv Morgan, who wasn't even directly involved in the match. Perez had been substituting for the injured Morgan, stepping in to defend the titles alongside Rodriguez. However, the defeat has left Liv in an awkward position. She is now a former champion without having been pinned or even participating in the title loss. This situation has understandably left Morgan frustrated, as it felt like a title was taken away from her, without her having a chance to fight for it. The aftermath of the title change has drawn attention from several quarters, including Dominic Mysterio, who spoke about the situation during an interview with the Wrestling Classic. Dominic, a member of the Judgment Day faction, expressed sympathy for Roxanne Perez, acknowledging the difficult spot she found herself in and hoping for a positive resolution down the line. He recognized that Perez's loss wasn't just a loss for herself, but also a disappointment for Liv Morgan, who had to watch her championship reign end without even stepping foot in the ring. Dominic pointed out that Liv was clearly unhappy about losing a title that wasn't technically hers at that moment. Because Perez was standing in for Liv, it created tension within their dynamic, and now Perez has some work to do if she wants to mend the relationship. Morgan's injury has sidelined her for quite some time. She underwent shoulder surgery and is expected to be out for at least 6 months, meaning Perez has some time, but also pressure, to make amends before Morgan's eventual return. Dominic's suggestion for how Perez might repair the situation is straightforward but ambitious. Win the Women's World Heavyweight Championship, and then hand that title over to Liv when she's back in action. The idea behind this is that Perez could restore goodwill with Morgan by showing she's capable of rising to the occasion and bringing a championship back to their faction, the Judgment Day. Essentially, it's a way for Perez to prove her worth and dedication to the team by earning a title in her own right, not just filling in as a substitute. This situation sheds light on the challenges that come with substituting for an injured champion in tag team wrestling. When one partner is forced to step in temporarily, especially in a title defense, it can create complications if the team loses the belts. The original champion often feels a loss of control, and the substitute might be burdened with blame, even if the defeat isn't entirely their fault. For Perez, this was an unfortunate circumstance, as she was trying to hold down the fort during Morgan's recovery, but ended up being the one pinned or associated with the title loss. Liv Morgan's current injury timeline means she won't be back in the ring for a while, which also means Perez will be in the spotlight longer than expected. This gives Perez the opportunity to carve out her own path, but also increases the pressure to perform well and not let Morgan or the fans down. The Judgment Day faction, which prides itself on strength and dominance, will be looking for Perez to step up and show that the team can still hold gold without Morgan actively competing. The road ahead for Perez is tough, but not impossible. Winning the Women's World Heavyweight Championship is a major accomplishment, and it would certainly elevate her status in WWE. If she manages to capture that title, it would send a strong message to both Morgan and the fans that Perez is more than just a temporary replacement. She's a legitimate champion in her own right. This could soften the disappointment surrounding the recent tag title loss and strengthen the faction's overall championship presence. At the same time, Perez will need to handle the interpersonal dynamics carefully. The wrestling world is not only about winning matches, but also about relationships backstage and within the storylines. Morgan and Perez's dynamic will be under scrutiny, especially given that Perez's recent loss directly impacted Morgan's championship reign. Earning Morgan's trust and approval again won't be automatic, and Perez will have to show consistent effort, respect, and results to regain that standing. Morgan's injury also casts a shadow on the Judgment Day's plans. The faction has been a dominant force, with multiple members holding championships. Losing the women's tag titles adds a complication to their hold on WWE's women's divisions. While Rodriguez remains a strong competitor, the absence of Morgan and the temporary setback of losing the tag titles forces the faction to regroup and strategize. Perez, being the substitute, has a crucial role in that strategy. Furthermore, this entire situation highlights the unpredictable nature of wrestling, where injuries and substitutions can dramatically alter championship landscapes and wrestler relationships. Morgan's injury was unexpected, and Perez had to step up at a moment's notice. While Perez undoubtedly gave her best effort, the loss will be a learning experience for her and possibly a motivating factor to push harder for future successes. The wrestling community has been buzzing about what this means for the future. Fans have speculated on how Perez will navigate her time as a temporary champion, how Morgan will react upon her return, and what moves the Judgment Day will make next. Dominic Mysterio's comments add an insider's perspective, emphasizing the importance of unity and redemption within the faction. Winning a prestigious singles title could indeed be the perfect way for Perez to make things right and rebuild momentum. As Morgan continues her recovery, Perez's actions and performances will be crucial in shaping perception of the tag team division and the Judgment Day's dominance. If Perez can rise to the occasion and capture a major singles championship, it would prove she's a valuable asset, capable of carrying significant responsibility. This would not only help heal any rifts caused by the recent title loss, but also bolster the faction's standing in WWE. In the meantime, fans and analysts will be watching closely, waiting to see if Perez can seize this opportunity. Will she manage to make up for the tag title loss by becoming a singles champion? How will Morgan respond when she finally returns? And how will this affect the dynamics within the Judgment Day and the women's division at large? These questions remain open, but one thing is clear. Roxanne Perez has a big task ahead, and the wrestling world is ready to see if she can deliver. The loss of the women's tag team titles at SummerSlam has left a complicated situation for both Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. While Morgan was sidelined and unable to defend her title, Perez had to fill in, only for the team to fall short. This outcome has put Perez in a difficult position, having lost a title on someone else's behalf. Dominic Mysterio's insights point to a hopeful path forward, one that involves Perez stepping up, claiming a singles championship, and earning Morgan's respect once more. With Morgan's recovery expected to keep her out for several months, Perez has a window to establish herself. Whether she can translate this opportunity into success and mend the temporary strain in their relationship remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. The burden of the recent loss has shifted onto Perez's shoulders. Perez had to fill in, only for the team to fall short. This outcome has put Perez in a difficult position, having lost a title on someone else's behalf. Dominic Mysterio's insights point to a hopeful path forward, one that involves Perez stepping up, claiming a singles championship, and earning Morgan's respect once more. With Morgan's recovery expected to keep her out for several months, Perez has a window to establish herself. Whether she can translate this opportunity into success and mend the temporary strain in their relationship remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. The burden of the recent loss has shifted onto Perez's shoulders.